everyone, I'm Anthony Yuan. I'm going to give a presentation for the course EDU7204, Global and Historical Perspective in Higher Education. My topic is internationalization of Hong Kong higher education in an era of globalization. Globalization is a key reality in the 21st century, which influences the world and higher education significantly, and it is the most significant challenge encountered by university in history. The globalization of the world economy has influenced the higher education significantly. Higher education should respond to the challenges of globalization and internationalization. It was found that higher education is undergoing substantial change in responding to the globalization, and the influence of the market force to decision making is increasing. So for the first research objectives of my study, I'm going to explore the impact of globalization on the Hong Kong higher education and investigating how the institutions respond to the globalization. So for the second objectives, since internationalization of higher education is crucial to improve the quality of higher education to meet the challenges of globalization, but some scholars argue that the ranking of university institutions was hardly determined by the degree of internationalization, and it should rely on teaching quality and research quality. So my study also investigates the effects of internationalization of the performance of Hong Kong universities, such as teaching and learning, research and other institutional performance. So for my last objectives, it was found that students and scholars are most likely to take advantage in a globalized higher education environment. In this connection, the study is also interested in exploring the response of academic staff and students on whether they support strategies of internationalization and what are their viewpoints on internationalization. Here comes the literature review. First of all, I will talk about the relationship between internationalization and globalization. Globalization is frequently confused with internationalization, and sometimes these two terms are used interchangeably. In fact, the concept of these two terms are different, and they're used in different domains. Internationalization refers to the growing importance of international trade and relations, but the nation remains the basic unit. But for the globalization, it refers to the global economic integration of national economies into one global economy by free trade and capital mobility, which is an effective erasure of national boundaries for economic purpose. For the definition of globalization, it is the actuality deformed by increasing integrated world economy, information, and technology, as well as emergence of an international knowledge network. Technology is another driver for globalization. Telecommunication technology allows for communication around the world by using phone calls, emails, video conference, etc., which information can be distributed around the world instantly. For the history of globalization, many researchers consider it's something new happened which marked the beginning of globalization. For example, internet has assumed a key in facilitating globalization. However, some scholars argue that globalization is a dynamic process, which the development of worldwide interdependence and global connection are developed with deep historic roots. During the period of Enlightenment and Renaissance, Europe served as the catalyst for globalization. The monarchs of European countries put significant resources to explore the new worlds. The European merchant class laid the foundation of capitalist world system with substantial support from their government. So global integration continue with European colonization of America and Africa. But by the early 17th century, national colonies like Dutch and British East Indonesia colonies were found to carry out overseas trades. As these corporations developed significantly, they began to regulate most intercontinental economic transactions. Around the middle of the 19th century, the intensification of global interconnection occurred with the explosion of development in science and technology. Moreover, industrialization allowed large-scale production of goods, and rapid population growth created strong demand for world trade. However, globalization failed to progress further due to the lack of technology for long-distance interaction. For the contemporary period of globalization, the dramatic expansion and acceleration of worldwide interdependence, which have occurred after the World War II. Governments have argued to reduce trade barriers and promote trade in goods, service, and investment. Due to the opportunities in large number of foreign markets, a significant of international industrial and financial business community were established. Now I'll talk about the internationalization of higher education. But regarding internationalization as a response to globalization, internationalization of higher education is the process of integrating an international and intercultural elements in the teaching, research, and different dimensions of the institution. So, for the internationalization of Hong Kong higher education, Hong Kong universities have carried out different strategies in internationalizing the institution, such as internationalizing the staff, students, international network, curriculum, as well as entering the mainland markets. So finally, as a conclusion, globalization has significant influence on higher education. Hong Kong universities are necessary to anchor globalization in this global age. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you.